man. He won the title last year, and fair play to him. Credit in the bank, but he has now lost the dressing room. When you lose a player of Salah, the importance of Salah, you are finished, bro. Because who do you think they're going to respect more? If they respect you more or Salah more? I'm sorry, Salah has got far more credit in the bank than Slot will ever do.
Look at what the hell Salah has given to this club season over season. And for Salah's frustration, I think, I had felt like that 23-24 season, he wasn't, still putting up crazy numbers, wasn't looking as good. And then you get that season last season where it's like, holy crap. And especially Salah, for him as he's now getting older, he's feeling like, I just cooked last season. And, I haven't had the best start to the season, but now after 9 games, you're going to bench me every game because I haven't been playing well in a couple of games. So for me, I understand Salah feeling like he got thrown under the bus. It's not like he's put 20 games where he's just been miserable and he's done where, you got no assists, no goals, no production. And now he says also, I think that's the 3rd time I'm on the bench. I think it's the first time in my career. Very disappointed. I've done so much for this club, especially last season.
My opinion is that I cannot ever be unhappy with a player that's unhappy because they're not being picked. Because that's probably what puts Mo Salah and Cristiano Ronaldo up where they are. That determination to train, work hard, and be the best every single day. And when you're sat on the bench watching your team not perform, you're going to believe that you can change that. Absolutely. So you can't be critical of a player that loses it and makes it about them in the sense that they feel that they're better than everybody else and they should be playing, because that's what their career is all about. And this is where other people around them need to sort of like go, okay, let's just take a beat. Because what he's done after the game there, I don't care about Mo Salah. If I'm a Liverpool fan, I care about the Liverpool result. And having looked at Liverpool over the last few weeks, we've spoken about Mo Salah being dropped, and I agree with it.
Yeah, man, this is the end of the road. This is it. This is where this is the end. It's either Slot out or Salah out. And there is no manager bigger than the club. There is no player bigger than the club. That's facts. But this has gotten to a point right now where there is no saving this. There is no fixing this. There is no, in a couple of weeks, everyone's going to be high-fiving. They might high-five, but they don't like each other. And they're not going to like each other. And it's so strange to me because the things Mo Salah is saying is so wild. He's saying, I don't know what took place. I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know where this went wrong. I was promised things by the club, is what he said. I was promised things. And I want to pull it up so I can read it like word for word. But he said, I was promised things by this club in the summer that are not being delivered.
Mohamed Salah's form up until this point has not been good enough. Mohamed Salah, as a professional athlete and one of the most gifted footballers to have ever played for Liverpool, has a responsibility to keep his performances at top level. He has not done that this season. As a result, he's paid with his price in the team. When Liverpool have had a terrible day at the office, they've gone to Elland Road, they've conceded 3 goals, including a goal in the last minute, pressing the self-destruct button, they were in the driving seat. Hugo Ekitike had them 2-0 up, and it's been a terrible day for Liverpool. Mohamed Salah has now decided to drop this interview. I am purposefully, if you've just tuned in, positioning this in a particular direction. But is there any truth in the way that I'm framing this? Is there any truth in Mohamed Salah getting this wrong? Let me know your thoughts. But
Mohamed Salah, I actually think, has every right to say what he's saying right now. Look, I don't think Salah's been great this season. And at times, I've even suggested maybe the solution comes in taking him out of the team to maybe try and change the shape. But never in my wildest dreams would I ever insinuate that Salah should be completely left out of any Liverpool activity and not even feature in games. 3 games off the bench in a row. It's not even like they're playing well without him. This, to me, was always coming. And the thing with Salah is he's very, very calculated. He doesn't always speak. In fact, Jamie Carragher came out this season and said, I'd like to hear Salah come out after defeats. But Salah doesn't always go to the press. In fact, he rarely does. However, the 2 times I can really remember over the last 2 seasons, rather 3 times I can really remember, they were all very, very damning times. First and foremost, 3 seasons ago, towards the end of his time with Jurgen Klopp, when him and Klopp had a public dispute on the touchline, he came out to speak to the media about it. Last season, in the heat of his contract dispute with Liverpool Football Club, he came out and said, I don't know my future. I don't know what the club wants. I've heard nothing. That wasn't just a coincidence. He didn't just happen to walk out and see some media and say, I'll talk to you guys. That was calculated. That was planned. And this is the most planned you will ever see Mohamed Salah. Nothing this guy does is by coincidence. He's a very meticulous guy. And the fact that he's come out with this interview at the time he has, it means everything. And I think with Salah all season long, by the way, you've been able to see moments where very clearly he has not been happy, even before he's been dropped from the team. I think it was very, very telling when he quoted one tweet on X, basically that was insinuating that Liverpool had massively upgraded on the likes of Diaz and Nunez with Wirtz and Isak. And he effectively came out and said, can we please enjoy our new signings without disrespecting the guys who won us a trophy?
Liverpool, because it's just come out now that Mo Salah, and listen, it's ratty behavior from Salah, okay? You know, he's come out with a few quotes, had a good relationship with the manager. All of a sudden, we don't have a relationship. I don't know why. I know you've been terrible. Like, I mean, surely you earn your place back in the team, right? It's not acceptable to me, to be honest. I don't know why it happens to me. We throw Mo under the bus because he's the problem and he's thrown the Prams out. And this is, of course, the big breaking quote. We will see what happens. In my head, I will enjoy the game even when I don't play. We will see what will happen. It's an Anfield. Say goodbye to the fans. Go to AFCON because I don't know what will happen when I'm there anyway. Hey, let me tell you something. The best thing for Liverpool is if it's a Ronaldo situation and they can get rid of him. But of course, he's on high wages. This is where Liverpool are lucky Saudi exists at the moment with the money that they have, because it could be the perfect getaway and Liverpool can pocket some money. But heck, Liverpool should be at a point where forget about the money. If you can get rid of Salah and offload those wages, he's past it. I mean, it's you know, Father Time is undefeated. Yeah, things can change very quickly in football. But obviously Salah's now, it's basically, you know, player power, right? He's trying to get Slot out, which this is now, as a Liverpool fan, if I were a Liverpool fan, I'd be in a dilemma because I think both Slot and Salah need to go. So if one goes, it's good. I think both need to go. So we'll see what happens.
I don't know whether Arne Slot's the right guy for Liverpool. I don't think this is about Slot versus Salah. I don't think sacking Slot and putting Salah back in your team instantly makes you better, and I'd be concerned if it did. I mean, I have seen that at United where Mourinho gets sacked and suddenly a few players start playing better and you sort of like go, oh, okay, so you do turn it off and you do turn it on. I don't think Mo Salah's that. I think if Mo Salah starts playing like he did last season when Slot's sacked, you go, oh, okay, so you weren't actually putting it in. And I don't think Salah's that. So I don't think it's about Salah against Slot. I think this is about a player that justifiably has been on the bench. And we watched that game against Sunderland on Wednesday, and he came on at half-time, and he was still as bad as he was before. So, you know, you're almost saying you are bigger than the club, that you shouldn't be dropped. And look, maybe other players should be dropped. Andy Robertson's been in and out of the team. Van Dijk maybe should be dropped. Canate maybe should be dropped, but they don't have any other centre-backs. Salah's been dropped, probably thinks he's undroppable. He hasn't played well. He's come back in the team. He's not played well. He's not played a minute yesterday. Probably feels really hard done by. Maybe he should have come on for 20 minutes. Maybe he should have come on for half an hour. But they did score 3 goals. And he's lost his head. And he thinks he's bigger than the club. And he's come out and made it about him. And actually, I think the timing of it's really, really bad. I also think he's been playing bad. And I also think we had this with Rooney at United. Pep's got rid of De Bruyne. You know, doesn't matter how good you are. Doesn't matter whether you're the best player, the best paid player. If you're not performing, you don't just start, because that becomes about you. That becomes about being narcissistic. That becomes about favouritism. And if you want to be the best, you've got to try and pick the best. And Mo Salah's not been good enough this season. And his record is incredible, but he's not been good enough this season. And
first of all, this is a club legend that we're talking about. But you can harm your legendary status very, very quickly by moving away from the hymn sheet. And I think the frustration has always been with Salah, and I think the frustration from Jamie Carragher that he's shown lots of other people kind of shutting down Carragher, sort of saying, oh, you wouldn't speak this way to other players. It's very difficult sometimes to speak about certain players, and I'm not saying I fully always back the way that Carragher speaks about him, but, you know, the frustration has always been around Mo Salah. You do tend to come out publicly when it suits you, and there have been other times where it hasn't suited you much. The frustration is he's an incredible player for Liverpool. He's put down incredible numbers. He's scored incredible goals. He's done incredible things as arguably the biggest and most incredible player of the modern age for Liverpool in terms of output. Maybe not in terms of, you know, cultural impact, even though his cultural impact has been huge. in terms of output. So Mo Salah leaving Liverpool, I think, would be monumental news. And the outcome of that will be huge.
This is Liverpool's third all-time goal scorer. This is a man that has scored for Liverpool in the past 10 years. Scoring in big games, scoring in big moments. I mean, how many goals has he got in his career? Look at the goals, look at the assists, man. For me, like, when you look at a guy and you look at someone who has produced for Liverpool, no one can doubt Salah's importance for Liverpool. You just can't. Whether you can say aesthetics, when you can say dribbling, is he better than Hazard? Brother, when it comes to numbers and when it comes to big game players, nobody can talk to Mo Salah. They can't. You cannot. And that's where, for me, Salah, do I think he has every right to say what he's saying? Yes. But only thing I would say is I question the timing.
He also went on to say, and this is straight from Fob, so I'm going to read it to you guys. Mo Salah, can I give an example? It's silly, but I'm sorry. I remember a while ago, Harry Kane was not scoring for 10 games. The media were like, oh, Harry Kane will score for sure. When it comes to Mo, everyone is like, he needs to be on the bench. I am sorry, Harry. So he is saying that he is not treated the same by the media. Now, I believe the English media is the worst football media in football. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Like, I'm not saying they tell lie stories, or that. I mean, they're brutal. They are mean. They are straight to the point, cutthroat. They don't care. I remember when Cristiano Ronaldo first signed for Manchester United, he was walking around with like this shirt that was like real ugly shirt. They were calling him a mama's boy. They were making fun of the way he dressed. They were just clowning him. They clowned his teeth. They clowned everything about Cristiano Ronaldo, bro. They used to just clown this kid, bro. He used to be the front page, them making fun of this kid, bro. Straight up. I remember how brutal they were to David Beckham when he started dating the girl from the Spice Girls. Everything about the English media is tough, bro. It is not, they are not nice. They are straight to the point, let's sell a paper. So if they started saying Salah needs to be benched and Salah this and Salah that and Salah all that, then I truly believe that that's just English media being English media. And I don't think Mo Salah should look too much into that, but I understand where he's coming from.
I don't know about you guys, but that sounds like goodbye kind of talk. That sounds like he is done with Liverpool. And by the way, guys, that's not just a message to Arne Slot. That's not just a message to the fans to let you know. That's a message to John Henry and Mr. Laptop. And I want to talk about that because listen to me. A lot of people gave Mr. Laptop all this credit because he wanted Brandt. He didn't want Mo Salah. No, he got Salah when Klopp wanted Brandt. So tell me how your database and all of that is going on with Florian Wirtz. Tell me how it's going on with Alexander Isak. When you try to form a mini Galacticos, but it just ends up looking like PSG's Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe. The club obviously would have told Salah of his importance. They would have given him that money and they would have told Mo Salah of his importance in the summer. Of course, absolutely. They would have told him these things. And he probably feels like, no. Promises are not being fulfilled here. I stayed because I was going to play. He probably got some records to break. How many goals he scored. He's the fourth highest scorer in Liverpool history. Not in Premier League history.
You know, you could just see all the little cracks coming out at the club now. You got a quote that says, Slot says, we signed Isak for 6 years, not for 3 months. But, hey, I'll be honest, you know, is there someone to blame at this club? I just think it's a bit of misfortune. You know, I really just feel like you look at the side that's going out there and like the side, yes, you brought in some crazy players, but the balance in the side, I know you brought in guys like Kirkes, and you brought in someone like Wirtz and Ekitike, who, you know, I don't know what Ekitike's, I think Ekitike started really well. And Ekitike, for me, you know, this was always the miss with Liverpool. And this is my opinion, right? He was playing phenomenal to start the season. Like, everybody was like, yo, this is going to be the next Henry, right? And then they do the worst thing you can do to a striker, and they bring in another striker for an even higher price tag. And it's like, did you really need to do that? You know, that's the question mark. And then you got a situation where you have this tough balance of like, which one do you play? You know, Isak obviously was boycotting his other team, and now there's this pressure for Ekitike. And yes, these guys have ridiculous price tags, but it's not going to help the confidence or I would say the overall development of either. So you just have this constant, like, I feel like lack of just what the hell is even going on at this club? And, you know, guys, who do you even blame with what's been going on? But what's the future look like, right? What's the future look like for Liverpool? Will they be able to get their shit together? No, I think I made a terrible prediction this season. I don't see how Liverpool is going to figure this out this season. And is the right change getting rid of Slot? Because Salah, right, is very unhappy, and we're seeing that he's not happy with the manager. And, you know, is that the right decision with Salah at age 33? Is he going to be able to perform the way Messi and Ronaldo have been playing at their ages? I don't think so. Me personally, I don't think so. I think Salah's probably got another year or two in him. So is it worth it for a manager you brought in the first season where the cracks were starting to show, who still won the league? Is it worth it to get rid of this guy for a bad time right now for the future? I don't know. Well, then you go look at what managers are even available, right? So that's the next step for me. You know, at the end of the day, for me, it's a bad case with Liverpool where someone's going to get blamed because this has been such a successful team for so long, and you brought some shiny cars in that, well, are just not doing what they should be doing.